John Hill, welcome back to TCM.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here to talk about the films made by your father, director George Roy Hill. And tonight we have 3 films that star Robert Redford. How would you talk about the friendship that your father had with Redford? Because it sounds like it was very special and long-lasting.
It was. They were very close, but yet they had a joking relationship. I did see a letter that he wrote saying, I still think I ran around a lot in The Sting, maybe too much. You know, he was always being chased. So there was that joking. And my father on The Great Waldo Pepper wore an orange jumpsuit. And Redford said, you look like you fell into an ocean, got tangled up in an orange dinghy. You know, so he like, why stop with the orange jumpsuit? So they had a great, you know, very friendly relationship.
Yeah, they did 3 films together, but they remained friends even after that.
Yes. And my father, early on in Sundance Film Festival or Sundance Film Institute, my father came and helped with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to think that your dad really pushed for Robert Redford to be cast in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Now you can't imagine anyone else but Redford and Newman.
Right.
Obviously, they had great chemistry together, so they're back together for The Sting. And this was a film that shows what talent your dad had for imbuing a lovely sense of nostalgia into his films, but also keeping it very alive and fresh.
Yes.
And I think one of the ways he did that was by choosing interesting music scores.
Yes.
Like not necessarily scores that went with the time period of the film.
Exactly. He did that on The Sting and also with Butch Cassidy, with Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head during a sunny bicycle sequence. So he was very much involved in the soundtracks.
And here we have Scott Joplin, who was the king of ragtime music.
Right.
And the film opens with The Entertainer, which was from 1902.
Right.
But it's a 1930s film. But you also have this lovely illustration with the opening credits and also the sort of introductions of all of the characters, the stars as the characters, like we saw with films from the 30s.
Yes. Originally, the script by David Ward who had written Steelyard Blues, was much harder edged. And there was actually a touching moment he wrote about because Gondorf was, according to my father, a fat slob in the first draft. And so Newman wasn't really happy about playing him. And he got together with Redford and Newman. They were starting to think of other people who could play the role. And my father was getting very depressed. And that's kind of the way it ended up. And they went to the elevator, and the elevator wouldn't come. And they were all looking at each other and then looking at the walls. And the elevators still didn't come. And my father said, it's going to be a lark. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, what are we talking? Yeah, let's do it. Come on. Thankfully, the elevator took a long time, but, you know, they got the movie made. So.
And it is a lot of fun.
Yes.
I love this movie. So let's take a look. Here it is from 1973, The Sting. John, I just love watching a heist come together perfectly, and The Sting is so much fun, isn't it? The way it's complex, but it all comes together in the end.
Yes, very happy at the end.
And the Academy loved this movie. It was nominated for 10 Oscars. It won 7, including Best Director for your dad.
Yes.
I love the Oscar speech that he gave. I'm going to paraphrase, but he basically said his advice to other directors would be to get yourself a script by David S. Ward, get a cameraman like Robert Surtees, get casting on a film by Marion Doherty, include cast like Robert Shaw, you know, Paul Newman and Robert Redford, and there you go, which is quite a humble speech.
Yes, yes. And he mentioned the editor, William Reynolds. And he said what is the word for it? With your pool.
Oh, Newman, the ringers.
2 ringers.
2 ringers, yeah.
Which is sort of like dialogue that you would use in The Sting.
The Sting was such a success, and it was kind of a string of successes for your dad. He became a rare director who had directed several highest-grossing films?
Yes, 2 of the top 10 highest-grossing pictures. He was very proud of that.
He was the only director at that time to achieve that.
Yes, he was very proud of that. And he was able to, with the movies that he did well, he was then able to do movies that they probably wouldn't have let him do, such as After Butch, he did Slaughterhouse-Five. And then after The Sting, he did Waldo Pepper.
We're showing The Great Waldo Pepper later on tonight, and this was a film that was very much close to your dad's heart because he loved aviation and planes. In fact, you can tell us at what age he got his pilot's license.
At 16, he said.
Yeah, what did planes mean to him throughout his whole life? Because he was a pilot himself.
Yes,
and
he was.
Fought in the war as well.
And he had
the Korean War.
Yes, he had a biplane himself, which he would fly across the country. And once I flew with him from Oakland to Wisconsin. And I was 10, and I thought it was thrilling. And afterwards he said, why would I take my son, 10-year-old son, up with me? But it was a lot of fun. A little nerve-wracking going through the Rockies, but it was fun.
We're about to watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as well tonight, and it's such a fun film. And every time I read about this movie, Robert Redford and Paul Newman just talk about how much fun they had filming. Was it fun for your dad as well?
It was so much fun. The amount of back and forth fun that they would have, it was incredible. Redford at that point had a place in Utah and said that he could go really fast. I think he had a Porsche at that time. He could go really fast, and even if he was stopped, they would let him go because he was Redford. And then Newman said, well, I'll race you. They were going to race back to Redford's house. And Newman had a Volkswagen with a Porsche engine in it. And so they were all going to race. And my father said, well, I can race too. My biplane, can go only about 120. I think he was lying. It could go 130. But they were all going to race. And then the production manager finally said, we can't have you guys. Somebody's going to end up hurting themselves. And
we need you for the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they didn't do it. But Newman figured out that he was going to win because he had rented a cargo plane to put his car in the cargo plane and fly it over. So there was a lot of hijinks, if you will.
Well, John Hill, such a pleasure to have you back on TCM. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let's do it again next week, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, good. But stay watching TCM right now because after the break, we'll see Redford and Newman together in their first film.
Next on TCM, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, then The Great Waldo Pepper, and later, Whistling in the Dark. Here's a bright idea. Stay tuned to TCM.